Hello class, today we're talking about problem solving with fractions that involve multiplication and division. So in question 1 we've got 15 cars in Michael's toy collection, 2/3 of the cars are red, how many are red? So this is a simple case. We want to take information where we have 15 cars, we want to replace the phrase the cars with 15, and then we can go ahead and solve. 2/3 is the fraction 2/3 of means multiply, and we've got 15 cars. When we multiply a fraction by a whole number, we want to remember that our whole number is really over 1. We could do this as 2 times 15 is 30, 3 times 1 is 3, 30 divided by 3 is 10, and conclude that there are 10 cars. There are some opportunities for simplifying in that multiplying stage as well. Case of question 2, Suzanne has 11 cookies. She wants to share them equally with her 3 friends. So Suzanne is going to share them with her 3 friends. That's 4 people in total who is sharing the cookies. We want to know how many cookies will each person get. So we have 11 and we want to share those equally or divide those by 4 people. So we're going to go ahead and divide there. And 11 divided by 4 can be written as a fraction, 11 over 4. And we probably want to answer as a mixed number here. It will make the most sense. And so we're going to go ahead and say 11 over 4 is equal to 2 wholes, and that would use up 8 out of our 11 and 3/4. So each person will get 2 3/4 cookies. Number 3, there were 5/8 of a pie left in the fridge. Daniel ate 1/4 of the leftover pie. So the leftover pie was 5/8. And we want to know how much pie did Daniel eat. So what we want is 1/4 of our leftover pie. The leftover pie was 5/8. This is going to be 1/4 times 5 over 8, which is 5 over 32. So we can say that Daniel ate 5/32 of the pie. Wayne filled 5 glasses with 2/3 of pop each. How much pop did he use? We got 5 groups of 2/3 each. Gives us 10/3 groups, or 3 1/3 liters of pop total. Sarah used 3/4 of a can of paint to paint 7 walls in the house. How much of a can was used on each wall? So we have 3/4 of can, and we're splitting it up amongst these 7 walls, and that's why we're going to divide by 7. We're splitting up. And we want to remember dividing by 7 is dividing by 7 over 1. And we know when we are dividing, we leave our first fraction alone. We change divide to multiply. We flip our second fraction. And that's our multiply by the reciprocal rule. 3 times 1 on the top is 3. 4 times 7 on the bottom is 28. So each wall required 3/28 of a can of paint.
Good afternoon, Riverbend, Mr. Kidd. If you're still early, Mr. Kidd, could you give the office a call?
One batch of 12 cookies uses 2/3 cup of sugar. How much sugar does James consume if he eats 1/4 of a batch? So we know that we have one batch has 2/3, and we're eating 1/4 of that one batch. And so we're going to do 1/4 times 2/3 gives us 2/12, which is 1/6. So I'm going to say James eats 1/6 cup of sugar in that quarter of a batch. How many times do you need to fill a 1/3 cup measuring spoon to measure it 6 2/3 cup? 6 2/3 is the total, and we want to know how many groups of 1/3 fit into that. And so, of course, we're going to do our 6 2/3 divided into groups of 1/3 each. In order to divide here, we want to create a improper fraction. So 6 times 3 is 18, plus 2 is 20 thirds, divided by 1/3 each. And of course, we've got our common denominator trick here, so we're going to have just 20 divided by 1, which is just 20 in this case. Of course, that comes from your 20/3 times 3/1, and then your 3's canceling out. Pam baked some cupcakes. She baked 24 cupcakes. Each one weighs 2/12 of a pound. If there are 6 in each box, what is the weight of each box? So we have 6 cupcakes, and each one weighs 2/12 of a pound. Now, of course, 2/12 can be simplified to 1/6, by dividing by 2. And 6/1 times 1/6 is the product of two reciprocals, so that's just 1, and each box weighs 1 pound. Tank of water is 7/8 full. A pump can drain 1/3 of the tank per hour. How long does it take to completely drain the tank? So we have 7/8 full. We want to divide that into groups of 1/3 each and see how many of those groups of 1/3 fit in. So we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. 7 times 3 is 21, and 8 times 1 is 8. We're going to convert that to a mixed number. 8 goes into 21 2 full times, which would make 16, leaving us 5 left over. So we can say it would take 2 5/8 hours to drain the tank. To solve by applying opposite operations, just like any time, we want to remember that the opposite of multiplying is dividing, and what we do to one side of our equal sign, we need to do the other. To undo multiplying by 3/4, we want to divide both sides by 3/4. That's going to cancel out on the left side. On the right side, we have the operation 1/6 divided by 3/4, and that we're going to flip and multiply. So 1/6 times 4/3 gives us 4/18, which can simplify by dividing by 2 to give us 2/9. And so we can say A equals 2/9. Again, the opposite of multiplying is dividing, so we'll divide both sides by 7/5 here. When we divide, our 7/5 on the left side of the equal sign cancels out. On the right side, we're going to flip and multiply. So 5/7. I'm going to go ahead and do some simplification here. Both 15 and 5 can divide by 5. And that'll give me 4/3 times 1/7. A little bit easier calculation to do. 4/21 is my answer for B. Here, the opposite of multiplying by 7/6 is dividing by 7/6. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So we say C is equal to 2/3 times 6/7. Again, I'm going to simplify here by dividing by 3. And that will give me 2/1 times 2/7, which is 4/7. And that'll be the value of my C.